You would not see 2023 elections. Cletus Ombom shared alleged threats he received from Peter Obi supporters. Cletus Ombom, the South-South coordinator of the presidential campaign for the All Progressive Congress (APC) under Asiwaju, has disclosed the death threats he alleged received from Peter Obi supporters for supporting the Labour Party flag-bearer. During the heated argument with the spokesperson of the Labour Party presidential campaign team, Kenneth Okonkwo, and Sunday Okoro, on a program airing on the African Independent Television (AIT), Obom criticized Obi for moving from one party despite promising not to join All Progressive Grand Alliance (APGA). He also accused Peter Obi supporters of showing desperation. Details in the video.
Other schools outside the country.
Yes, security, you are correct. But let me make this round statement on the issue of parties and ideology. The Nigerian populace is getting wary of politicians who talk about ideology. If any man has no ideology in Nigeria today, it is Peter Obi. If he has no principles, it is Peter Obi. This is a man who was given the spiritual and political heritage of Anambra State by no other person than the late Ikemba. May his soul rest in peace. And the man swore before the Igbo people and said, if I leave this party to collapse, let me and my children see nothing good. He swore. It's on tape, it's on record. We have the record if you want, and we'll play it here on air. Now, hardly had he left office than the quest for power's sake, power mongering, drove him to become a vice president to the article he's talking gleefully about today. He was vice presidential candidate. They are one in 2019. We'll be discussing now as a vice president. When it was now evident to him that he had no space to contest for presidency, he moved to Labour Party.
Right. I'm surprised that my colleague here said it's not going to go personal. But it's understandable because APC has never kept to their promise. Now, when he said Obi made a promise he was going to stay in Apuga, he made that promise to Ojukwu. And Obi remained in Apuga until Ojukwu passed on. And his own forever has started. And let me tell you about agreement in law. When you make an agreement, it is between two persons. If the other party is not keeping to the agreement, you do not have any right to remain where you are. Victor Ume was the first person that said that to the world about that pact, which Obi made with Ojukwu. But you know what? Victor Ume himself is now in Labour Party. And you know what he said? He says because of what they're doing in Apuga today. The Apuga today is not the Apuga that Ojukwu dreamt of. And whoever who said that has every right. If the other party changes his own agreement, you are not compelled to remain in it. Now, he said about his principal, how he captured Lagos. Now, let me tell him how he captured Lagos. Tinubu has never governed Lagos through the state apparatus. He always creates his own apparatus. Mawa wiped out Alaye boys and retooled them and renamed them good boys and girls of Lagos. Tinubu came in and empowered them the more. What happened to Funsho Williams? The greatest political opponent of Tinubu was killed, assassinated in 2003, and nothing has been known about it. How he captured Lagos. Tinubu said, if anybody tells you there will be a change of government, tell the person, shut up. Mentioning Funke as Kindelet's name in his presence, he will tell you it irritates him. He captured Lagos through intimidation. We will not succumb to the blackmail of intimidators in 2023. How did he capture Lagos? When the National Union of Road Transport Workers suspended the Lagos branch of the union.
Yes.
What did they do? They created another.
You have taken your time.
What I'm trying to tell you is that Tinubu captured Lagos through intimidation.
Okay.
We are coming to capture Nigeria through inspiration.
My schoolmates. It makes me laugh. Please, who are the primary schoolmates of the almighty Afe Babalola? Who are his secondary schoolmates?
I thought you wanted to give me the primary schoolmates.
Give me the ones of fashion. You are a lawyer.
Yes.
Will you dispute who Afe Babalola.
Afe Babalola is not a presidential candidate.
No. Must he be a presidential candidate to show you his classmates?
When he becomes a presidential candidate, we'll question that.
How did he become a senior advocate? Question him as a lawyer.
No. You're the one saying.
Now, it is a very pedestrian argument. Each time I hear this, it's so pedestrian that in 2022, you can leave your house and write WAEC without talking to anybody. Today,
is that what he did?
Not in 19. Did he ever tell you?
No. Tell us about your principal.
Wait.
Yes.
They have Chicago denied him.
We are running out of time.
Now let me not get there. Like I say, it's a very pedestrian argument that has no basis because the courts are there for you to. You are a lawyer. I don't know why you are wasting time on the court of public opinion when there is a traditional.
I would have rather liked you to tell me the safety and security measures.
Now on security, nothing on that. On security. I started by telling you that you cannot do education, economy, or anything without security. That's why I laid my finger. And I said they are interlinked. And the security architecture that is presently on, you remember that this government has started doing, no government since 1960 has acquired military hardware than this regime. Please cross-check and fact-check this. Show us what we've spent on this and what is showing today. Today, as we speak, you are aware that after the Kuje prisons and after the Republican or the Brigade of Guards was attacked, or those officers were attacked, as we speak today, people are driving safely to Kaduna. People are not safely to Kaduna. We've not had any more kidnappings on that route. And indeed, today, just today, the rail lines have opened again. Today. The rail lines have opened.
But just yesterday, there was an attack on the mosque and several people were abducted. And
when?
On the mosque yesterday in Katsina State.
I'm giving you the example of the unsafe Kaduna Rail Road that is resuming today.
We're talking nationally.
About the country, you will agree with me that we have no flags flying again of bandits or Boko Haram. Indeed, we are not discussing bandits and kidnappers. We are no longer discussing Boko Haram, which was a major crisis for Nigeria where we took off from in 2015.
Okay,
of course, you should also remember.
I should have the right of reply.
Let me come back because I'm just told that we're running out of time. Final thoughts from all of you here. Let me come back to you, Sonny. I mean, you've heard what all the other spokespersons have said.
About corruption. People say PDP is the only government that has fought corruption. Now we don't know about Labour. They are talking like the APC now. You know, in the past, but the APC has had 7 years now. Nothing has happened. PDP were the ones that, talking about institutions, they were the ones that introduced the IPS, the system of payment. So to cut away all those whatever.
All right.
PDP is the one that introduced the TSA. You don't fight corruption by just shouting. No, you fight corruption by putting institutions in place that will checkmate. Because whether we like it or not, corruption is part of human nature. It will be there for life. In China, people are still corrupt. So all this talk of trying to make Nigerians, trying to woo Nigerians with, corruption, that was what they did in 2015. And Nigerians foolishly followed that corruption slogan and look at where we are today.
Okay.
PNP is all about institutions.
Let me come
institutions in place to checkmate
to check corruption,
which has always worked,
because they're embedded in human nature. Maybe somebody will argue with that, but let me come to your final thoughts, Bryce Kenneth.
Right. Or in the regime of P2B, he's going to transform it to brain gain. Having said that, let us come into the issue of corruption. One of the 7-point agenda of my principle is restructuring through effective legal and institutional reforms that will aggressively fight corruption, prevent corruption, maintain rule of law, reduce cost of governance, and ensure an honest and efficient civil service in Nigeria by the combined effects of the incompetence of PDP and APC that led us to have a civil service that you cannot do anything without offering money. I can tell you that for free. That is why we say they are transactional. You cannot do anything in Nigeria now without going into the transaction of it. Corruption. My principal could not even accept what is due for him, was not even and has not been taking any pension as a former governor, could not even take any plot of land. When we went to Bini, I was in Oba of Bini's palace, and the Oba looked at him and said, your integrity is going before you. When my principal was the governor of Anambra State, he first of all returned the schools to their original owners who will manage the schools effectively. He put money, do you know, he bought laptops. He digitalized the educational system of Anambra State. As at that time, it was not accidental. They turned and became first. It was not accidental that the university that is in Anambra State today did not join the strike. And when they were asked, they say it was the formula that was built by P2B when he was the governor. So educationally, the corruption is as a result of poverty. It is as a result of not being able to afford what you ought to afford. Talking about the issue of corruption in APC government, one person stealing 109 billion naira, and he's the person that is the custodian of the money. How much will you give education when the person that is the custodian is stealing such amount? You can see what is going on in budget. They have never budgeted up to 10% in education since their inception. Of course, their leaders are not very good. They are not known to have had certificates. Even the one they have is litigable and pejorable. I don't want to go into the issue of legal because they will accuse me of intimidating them, being a learned gentleman. But what I'm trying to say is that in corruption, APC has failed, PDP has failed. The presidential candidate of PDP was described as the most corrupt person on earth by his own president, written in his own book. Is that the kind of man you would want to come to supervise a corrupt education? I don't want to talk about APC. The name, another name for APC is corruption, and they cannot fight it because it's become systemic in APC. And I don't want to talk about their presidential candidate that has captured a state like Lagos. So education is not his priority. But when it comes to my principle, like I have told you, we are interested in the digital economy. He started the process in Anambra State, and we are still going to do it. You don't wipe corruption except you fund education, except you make sure that the youths, like I told you, you have to retrain the teachers, you have to retool them, and you have to recertify them.
Right,
Let me
quickly
quickly say that the PDP were the ones who told us that you can only do election by do or die. PDP is the one that arrested judgments and suspended an appeal court president. I didn't interject. Then they also proceeded to suspend Salami, a president of the Court of Appeal. Never in our history have we gotten those type of things. And if you remember, there was a book called the Civil War Call Election 2003. It was under midwife by PDP. That is on the judiciary and on the political end. So we couldn't have inherited that. Two is that when you talk about Tinubu capture and Funshaw Williams, how did the Igwes die? How did the Igwe, a man and a wife, who are criticizing Obi, how did they die? Now, two, hold on, wait a moment. Who changed hold on, don't interject, I didn't interject, you lied.
I'm afraid this is where we have to draw the curtain as the conversation ensues here in the studio. And I've been joined by...
Alright guys, this is what I'm going to be heading the video today. Do you enjoy this particular video? If you do, please do not skip without you commenting your thoughts in the comment sections and give these videos a thumbs up. This is the only way you can support the growth of this channel. For all our returning subscribers who year to year or time to time always come to support the growth of our content, thank you very much. May God continue to bless you. Compliment of the season to all our viewers out there. We thank you very much for all your big support that you have given to this platform for making Plan B TV to work out. Thank you. Until we meet again, do not forget to turn on your notification bell so you'll be the first person to be notified anytime we upload a new content. If you have not subscribed, I don't know what you're waiting for. Please subscribe and be among the Plan B TV team. Thank you very much. Until we meet again. Peace out.
Don't forget to subscribe to get notified. And as you they show your support, now say God bless you too.
Dance on the bed.
Plan B TV, Plan B TV, Plan B TV. Oh, Plan B TV, Plan B TV, Plan B TV, Plan B TV.